Okay, so looking at all these articles and expert analyses about a possible second term for Trump, um, honestly, it's a little unsettling.
Yeah.
The word revenge just keeps popping up.
It does. It feels different this time. Like,
Yeah.
it goes beyond just, typical policy disagreements.
Right.
This time, there's this sense of, I don't know, almost like a personal vendetta
Yeah.
targeting specific individuals and institutions that he feels have wronged him personally.
Yeah. And he's actually naming names,
He is.
Yeah. Biden, Harris, even Obama.
And he's talking about using the power of the presidency to go after them.
Yeah.
Like, we see suggestions of appointing a special prosecutor specifically to investigate the Bidens.
Right.
I mean, we haven't really seen that level of targeted legal action from an incoming president before, have we?
It really does feel like he's saying, you investigated me, so now it's my turn.
Right.
Pushing that whole weaponized justice system narrative.
Exactly. And that's what I find so scary.
Yeah.
Because if the justice system is just a tool for revenge, then what happens to the rule of law?
Totally.
To fairness, it undermines the whole system.
And it's not just the Justice Department, is it?
No.
He's talked about using the military domestically, too.
He has. Even suggesting that General Milley,
Right.
the former Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman, should be executed for treason?
It's chilling.
It is.
Using the military against your own people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crossing a line we just haven't seen in modern American history.
And what's really unsettling is that he seems to have a lot of support for these ideas.
Yeah, I was going to say.
There are a lot of people who are angry out there.
Right.
They feel like the system is rigged against them.
Totally.
And they see Trump as someone who will fight back no matter what the cost.
Yeah. So it's not just him then.
No.
It's this broader trend of retribution that seems to be seeping into our culture.
It feels like it's everywhere. In schools, libraries, local elections.
It really does.
People are being harassed and threatened simply for doing their jobs, expressing their opinions. It's like this wave of anger and intolerance is washing over the country.
And if he has a Republican-controlled Congress,
Right?
who's going to stop him?
That's what's terrifying. The potential lack of checks and balances.
Right.
If the legislative branch won't hold him accountable,
Yeah.
and the judicial branch is packed with his appointees,
Yeah.
who's left to say no?
It's like we're teetering on the edge of something really dark here.
Yeah.
This isn't just about politics anymore.
No.
It's about the very soul of our nation.
It is. And what's at stake is whether we as a nation are going to allow fear and anger to dictate our actions,
Yeah.
or whether we're going to stand up for our democratic principles, for fairness, for the rule of law.
It's a question we all need to be asking ourselves.
We do.
And it's a choice we're going to have to make one way or another.
One way or another, it's like we're losing sight of what it even means to have a shared reality,
Yeah.
a common set of facts that we can all agree on.
It feels like truth itself is up for grabs now,
It does.
depending on which side you're on.
Yeah.
And that plays right into this whole idea of retribution, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Because if you can convince people that any criticism
Right.
or any legal challenge is just a witch hunt or fake news, then you're essentially above the law.
It's scary
Yeah.
because if there's no accountability, where does it end?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And honestly, these sources don't paint a very optimistic picture.
Right.
They're talking about a potential further erosion of trust in institutions.
Wow.
The media, the justice system, it's like the foundation of our democracy is crumbling.
And what can we even do about it?
I know it feels overwhelming.
It does.
But the experts all emphasize that we need to be speaking out,
Okay.
challenging misinformation, holding those in power accountable.
And that can be risky these days,
It can.
especially when you see people actually being targeted and harassed just for speaking their minds.
It takes courage. But the sources also talk about the power of collective action. Joining forces with others who share your values.
Right.
Supporting organizations that are fighting for democracy.
So it's not about individual heroism then,
No.
but about banding together,
Yeah.
showing that we won't tolerate this kind of behavior.
Right. It's about recognizing that this isn't just about Trump.
Yeah.
It's about something much bigger. It's about the kind of country we want to live in.
Right.
The values we want to uphold.
One expert even used the word fascism
Right.
to describe what's happening.
It's a strong word, no doubt.
Yeah, is that a little extreme?
Perhaps, but when you look at the parallels,
Okay.
the demonization of opponents, the attacks on the free press, the undermining of democratic processes, it's
Yeah.
not entirely out of line.
It's a wake-up call, that's for sure.
It is.
We can't take our democracy for granted.
We can't.
And it's not just a domestic issue either.
Right.
I mean, the global implications of a second Trump term are pretty frightening too.
They are.
You mean like his whole America First thing?
Yes. alienating our allies, cozying up to dictators.
Yeah.
And then there's climate change.
Oh, right.
He's shown a complete disregard for the issue.
He has.
Imagine 4 more years of that.
So we're not just talking about the potential erosion of democracy here at home,
No.
but also about America's standing in the world,
Right.
our ability to lead on critical issues.
It's a pretty bleak picture, honestly.
It is.
Yeah.
Are there any potential positives, though?
Well, no.
I mean, anything that might actually improve under a second Trump term?
Some argue that his focus on economic nationalism and renegotiating trade deals could benefit certain sectors of the American economy.
Okay.
But even those potential benefits come with risks.
Like what?
Trade wars, higher prices for consumers.
Right, right.
And then there's the whole issue of his unpredictability.
Yeah.
You never know what he's going to do next,
Exactly.
which creates this constant sense of instability.
It's like we're all on a roller coaster that's about to go off the rails.
And it's important to remember that Trump is not just some isolated phenomenon.
Okay.
He's a symptom of deeper problems in our society.
You mean the divisions, the anger, the loss of faith in institutions?
Precisely. And
Okay.
until we address those underlying issues, we're going to keep seeing more Trumps.
Oh, wow.
More chaos, more erosion of our values.
So it's not enough to just worry about what Trump might do in a second term.
Right.
We have to look inward, too.
We do. We
Yeah.
need to have some hard conversations about who we are as a nation,
Yeah.
what we stand for, and what kind of future we want to build.
It feels like we're at a real turning point here.
Yeah.
Like, which way we go from here could actually determine the future of the country.
One expert in this research put it pretty starkly.
Oh, yeah.
They said, the door is wide open for a slide toward authoritarianism.
Wow. That's,
Yeah,
that sends shivers down my spine.
I know.
To think that's even a possibility in America.
Yeah, it's not something to take lightly.
No.
When you see democratic norms being eroded, attacks on institutions' power being concentrated in the hands of one person,
Right.
it's a dangerous combination.
This whole conversation has been really unsettling.
Yeah,
You know, I try to stay optimistic,
I get it.
but it's hard not to feel a sense of dread after reading all of this.
I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
These are serious issues with potentially really profound consequences.
Yeah.
But I think we have to remember that we still have agency.
Okay.
We can still make a difference.
But how? I mean, what can we actually do to push back against this tide?
It starts with being informed and engaged.
Okay.
Having these conversations like we're doing right now,
Mhm.
talking to our friends and families,
Yeah.
educating ourselves about the issues and the candidates.
And voting, of course.
Absolutely. Our vote is our voice.
Right.
It's the most fundamental way to participate in our democracy.
But what if it's not enough?
Well,
What if things really do take a turn for the worse?
that's a scary thought, but I don't think history is predetermined.
Okay.
The future isn't set in stone. We can still choose a different path.
So that choice really starts with each of us then.
Exactly. We can't afford to be complacent.
Right.
We need to be active participants in shaping the future we want for ourselves and for generations to come.
Well, this has been a sobering but really important conversation.
It has.
Thanks for helping us unpack all of this.
My pleasure. And remember, knowledge is power.
That's true.
The more we know, the better equipped we are to face whatever challenges lie ahead.
That's a good point. And to everyone listening, we encourage you to subscribe to the channel for more conversations just like this one. Stay curious, stay engaged, and never stop learning.